Hey, what's up, guys? If you've watched my channel for some time, you know that I really like Anavar. I've run it as a standalone cycle, which I don't necessarily recommend, although you can do it in small amounts. And I've run it on Primobolan and testosterone with great effect. And it's a compound I really enjoy. Like it takes the cycle, especially when you run it right at the end of a cycle, because it's only 6 weeks in compared to say like a 3 month cycle that you're doing or 4 month. So it's like you do it right at the end, and it kind of takes things up a notch. Okay, and Anavar, the reason why I like it, the primary reason, is as a pre-workout sublingually. Only 20 milligrams. You can do more, but you don't have to. Especially when you're doing other compounds, it's like a little goes a long way. And essentially, what that does is the pre-workout effect and the drive you get from it is very good. And you'll notice you'll get very quick gains. The anabolic rating to androgenic rating, I believe, something like 300 to 60. Don't quote me on that, but it's ridiculous. Okay, so in that 6 weeks time, you can get some very nice gains. That being said, it is known as the safest oral compound and is very highly desired. I think it was like Ben Johnson back in the Olympics was on it and things. Very highly desired compound, very popular in the bodybuilding world for good reason. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't have negative consequences, and this is kind of what I want to get in this video as to why I'm not necessarily going to take it in this current cycle. For one, I took it in my last cycle, which was just not long ago. So I wish to kind of keep a little bit of a break, maybe every other cycle running with Anavar, as opposed to every cycle. So have a bit of a break in between, and I don't think it's completely necessary, especially when you're running, compounds like what I'm doing right now, the nandrolone and masteron. Like what I'm doing right now, I feel like Anavar is not even needed. Obviously, I could add that, but I think it could be like a bit overkill. If anything, I would just increase the amount of titrate the doses up, which I'm currently doing, which would include the testosterone, the masteron, and the NPP. I don't see why adding another compound while keeping those other doses the same. What would be the advantage of that necessarily? Definitely possible, but that's the logic I'm going at right now. Why? This is probably what I'm going to name this video. Why I will not add Anavar on my current cycle. It's pretty well for that reason. There's with any oral, there is some risks involved in that and negative health. That's why you only run it for 6 weeks. Okay, if you run it for a long time, 3 months, you could have some negative health consequences. So you don't run it as long as you do your injectable steroids. So I'll stick with the injectables for this current cycle, and I plan on titrating the dose up on especially the nandrolone within the next month. What Anavar can do really well is add, like I was saying, it has that high anabolic rating, so you get muscle hardness, you get ripped for sure. Performance-wise, great to pair with somebody who does sports, who does anything athletic. Great. The intensity and drive you get, like I said, for the pre-workout, excellent. But you just have to be careful and run, I think, not too high of doses. I would not recommend high dose Anavar by any means. Highest I would go would be 40 to 50. And to be honest, I wouldn't even do that. Like, I'm running more 20. Just a little bit on top of all the rest of the shit I'm doing, right? It's just that little bit kick in there. That's all I'm in it for. But that being said, if you're really super serious bodybuilder or athlete, you can go a little bit higher and you'll get great benefit from that. It's just, when you when you add a bunch of things together, it adds up. Okay, so just keep that in mind. when you're running different steroids, especially when you're running 3+. Right? If you're running 3+ and you run high doses of each, without getting the proper everything else, like even coaching and blood panel, make sure everything's good. You know what I mean? You probably want to stick to a little bit smaller dosages. What else should I say about Anavar? Sublingually is ideal, especially pre-workout. It hits the system better, bypasses, I think, the liver, something physiological where you'll get it quicker response, quicker delivery to when you need it. It has an effect on the central nervous system, which is, again, why I love it. It's like, I've been taking pre-workout for like 10 years, and it's like, okay, yeah, the kick you get from that is great and all, like, but it's like, yeah, the Anavar to that, it's like, ping, you're up there, you're going full beast mode in the gym. It just has that effect. And you just got to make sure you have a good source of it, because it can be faked with other orals, and which you don't probably want to do. The reason why you want to do something like Anavar, you'll not have the bloating or the estrogenic effects that some other orals might. So it might be a good idea to get a tester if you got a new supply and test it. It's worth the money. If you're doing anabolics anyway, you should have money to begin with to be able to do it properly. Like a lot of people who might have a little bit of money one month and not a bit of the next, it's probably not the best idea, because you need that consistency. You need to be able to do it consistently for months and months and years on end, right, to be able to afford it on top of every other bill. I know a lot of videos I make on Anavar are popular, and a lot of people have that interest in it, so that's why I make them. I originally started making videos on Anavar because that was the first steroid I ever took, other than HGH, which isn't considered a steroid, right? It's not a cholesterol-based molecule. HGH isn't. Anavar is dihydrotestosterone kind of derivative, and that's what I took originally as a standalone. I don't recommend doing that, but it's definitely possible if you want to get your feet wet to do that. But again, I wouldn't go more than 20 milligrams a week because of the potential shutdown effects that you might get, that would be undesirable, and run it for maybe just a shorter period. But at that point, would it even be worth it? I don't know. You definitely get your feet wet, and you get a taste for what taking steroids is all about. But if you're planning on getting into steroids, just inject testosterone. I know some people are afraid to, because of afraid to inject something, especially intramuscularly. Might be a bit intimidating. I get that. I was there myself at one point, and that's why you want to go into the oral route. But in the end, what is safer is sticking to a testosterone and safer compounds like Masteron or Primobolan. Even NPP, I think, is safer than Anavar in smaller amounts. So I'll leave it there, guys. What do you guys think about that? I'm going to avoid taking Anavar this cycle, surprisingly. I thought I was going to add it, but I decided, pull the trigger, I'm not going to do it this one. My next cycle will be probably in a few months once I finish this one. So potentially that one, I think around the beginning of the fall. I'll time it around then. I'm thinking I'm going to be going on more of a bulking one at that point. So we'll see. Maybe at the end of that bulking cycle, I'll add the rest of the Anavar, which I currently have, to that. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think about my rationale and reason, and what do you think about Anavar if you've taken it before or you're planning to. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.